Hey everybody, welcome to week 7. We are almost at the finish line, so obviously your big thing for this week will be your team will deliver your presentation. So just a couple of pointers on that real quick, but first I want to jump into our topic for this week, which is major IT initiatives. So when we talk about a major IT initiative, in most cases where my head and most people's head goes in this space is talking about either a EHR upgrade or an EHR replacement with a new vendor. Obviously, those are big initiatives. If you go back in time to the COVID years, a big initiative was telehealth, right? Because we had to do a lot of things virtually. The other problem CIOs struggled with was getting employees to work, get them moved to work from home. So unless it was essential personnel, patient care staff, lab technicians, X-ray techs, farm techs, of course they had to be on site. But most of our administrative, tech teams could be working from home. So that, of course, was a big initiative as well. So that's what kind of the focus is for this week. But kind of thinking about the presentation that you guys will do this week, a couple of things to keep in mind. Having graded these for a long time, I'm going to give you some kind of advice that I see from a lot of student groups over the years. Number one, and I can't stress this enough, do a dry run of that presentation, okay? Be sure your entire team gets on, you go through it, and you time it, okay? So you get roughly 20 minutes of presentation time, and that leaves 5 to 10 minutes for me to ask questions, and I'll give you real-time feedback at the end of your presentation, okay? The schedule for this week is I've got groups back-to-back, so I cannot let anybody run over. So definitely be sure you do that dry run, practice and rehearse that presentation, all right? Definitely put the effort into that. I assure you I can tell the ones that have been rehearsed and the ones that haven't. So, and then also prepare individually, okay? When you think about what you put on the slides, nothing is more distracting than a slide that has 500 words on it, okay? One good rule you can use, and this isn't the only rule, but one good rule is what we call the 6x6, okay? So what that means is no more than 6 bullet points, and each bullet point should have no more than 6 words, okay? That's a rough guideline, okay? If you have 7, 8 words, if you only have 4 bullet points, I'm certainly not going to strike you down, but that's a good baseline to kind of think about, okay? Next up, I'm under no false pretense that you guys are going to divide and conquer. That was the whole idea, right? So I'm sure that at some point, and I've seen it in the group videos, that you parsed out, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and I'm going to do this. That's perfectly fine. However, be sure when you culminate it all together, this is both for the presentation and for the paper that you're going to write, be sure that it's not glaringly obvious when you changed authors, okay? So what I mean by that is when we're talking about a PowerPoint especially, it's very distracting if it says, okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer now and she's going to talk about the financial side of it, okay? And then if suddenly they go to the next slide and I see a different style, a different theme, different font size, a completely different color pattern behind it, be sure it's consistent, okay? So what I would encourage you to do before you come live with me on the presentation is have your group assign one person to make that final pass through of the slides and be sure it is consistent throughout. That makes a big difference, okay? So if you employ those tips, that will be very useful. Please have your team on the Zoom session at least 5 to 10 minutes early. That way you can work through any issues, last minute questions. What a lot of teams will do, they will meet 30 minutes prior to bringing me onto the Zoom and run the presentation. If your schedules allow, that is the best way to do it because you get that opportunity to run it, pause, talk about it, make any minor tweaks, and then I come on and away we go. So it makes a big difference, okay? So if you do those things, you're going to be in great shape, and I'm looking forward to seeing your presentations. Hope you all have a great week.